Good evening, individuals that follow Kamarian, my Kamarians. Um, Tonight, I just kind of jumped on. I had a couple of people that had said that they wanted me to jump on and talk about this past weekend. It was an awesome weekend. Got to, basically got to play some good golf down at Magnolia Grove in Mobile. Basically, what I'll do tonight is just kind of tell you a little bit about that experience and talk a little bit about some of the things that I learned as far as tips for individuals after watching a couple of people. Um, and then I had a request. I went to TJ's package store in Lylerly, Georgia. I bought some. I did, I mean, let's be honest. You can't win if you don't play. I got me some Powerball tickets and some Mega Million tickets and a couple of scratch offs, but you cannot do the lottery and win some money if you don't put money into it. You got to play. You got to pay to play. It's basically what they basically have always said. So I had a little fun with that. And I did that this evening actually, and I ended up getting two bottles this evening. Buffalo Trace, which is always a good choice. It's a very light drink. It's only, I think it's 90 something proof. Buffalo Trace, yeah. So it's not that hard of a liquor. And then I had the 1792, which is what we're going to try tonight, and it is 93.7 proof. But I had a request to get this done. This is a Kentucky small batch, and basically it's supposed to be a sweeter uh, liquor. I mean bourbon. In that situation, we're gonna try this out in a minute. But I wanted to at least first start off talking about. I know last week or week before last we had a guest. It was Scott Parker. I worked with Scott, and basically we talked about the amateur golf tour with Golf Week. And let me tell you, me and the wife rolled down to Mobile, had a great time, stayed at the Holiday Inn downtown. Uh, Let me tell you something about the Holiday Inn downtown. There's a Sky Lounge, I think it's something like that. You can sit up there, you can have a drink, and you look over the city. It's a pretty awesome experience. We were on the 16th floor. It was the 17th floor. Definitely would suggest it if you're going to Mobile. Definitely go to either it or the Renaissance or whatever. But let me tell you, playing Magnolia Grove was awesome. You have the falls and you have the crossings. Um, this was put on by the Mississippi tour in that situation, not the Alabama tour this weekend, but it was the Mississippi tour. Uh, I played pretty good on Saturday. The problem is it rained. Let me tell you, those rain delays are rough. And we didn't get to finish the nine hole. I mean, but nine holes, I actually played 10, but we didn't get to finish but nine good holes. Uh, they pretty much scrapped Saturday. Now, this to me is a good example of why you need to be prepared to play good golf at all times. Now, my regiment during the week, when it comes to being in a situation where I want to prepare for golf, I start off on Monday with three clubs: my sand wedge, my pitching wedge, and then I get a 7-iron. I don't pull out the driver during the week when I'm preparing for a tournament. And the reason for that is I want to be deadly from about 150 in. And if you're playing golf and you think that the driver is where it's at, you're missing a pretty good bit of why people are playing. You can drive, but if you can't recover and have a pretty good second shot, you're probably not going to end up scoring well. So that's why I pull out my seven, my pitching wedge, and my wedge. I think it's a 56 degree. And the reason why I do that is because I want to be in a position where I know what that swing looks like. Saturday, like I said, I played pretty good. Um, didn't get. I had a birdie. Didn't mean anything at the end because they scrapped all of the scoring for Saturday. But what it did was it prepared me. Now the course we played the first day was the Falls, and the course was set up where it was almost a little tight. It was a little tighter than the crossings. If you play golf, you understand what I mean. That fairway isn't that wide on the Falls, but the crossings on the next day, it was almost like a God saying that I was able to play the next day, and it count more than it would have with the Falls because it gave you a little bit more of a larger opportunity for error. So let me tell you, work on, if you don't do anything else, if you're new to golf or whatever, make sure that you work on that pre-shot routine. The reason I say that is a lot of people sell the pre-shot routine short because that is what gives you the consistency of knowing what it is that you can expect from your shots. If you just walk up to the ball and just casually hit it, you're not getting what you think you're going to get from each golf shot. You're not aimed correctly. You're not going to hit the ball the same way or even close. But my goal for Saturday and Sunday, it was real simple. Keep the ball in play off the tee and aim for the middle of the green for my second shot. And I know that sounds pretty simple, but believe it or not, that actually worked out well because it didn't really matter what the second shot was. It took out having to aim for the pin every time. Um, and I will continue to try and do that going forward because it really worked as far as being able. And then something else that I did that I thought was real good was I actually clubbed up on every shot to ensure that I wasn't short. And by doing that, I hit more greens. I also didn't have to worry about chipping so much. And the biggest problem that you have at that point in time when you're hitting a green, it doesn't matter if you're 50 feet from the pin. You at least know that you can two putt and score in that situation. So keep that in mind as you're playing golf. I know individuals that are new have no idea what I'm talking about, but I promise you, if you're new, one of the things you want to do is chip and practice your shots from 100 in. If you can capitalize on your shots from 100 in, you can become a dangerous individual because really and truly, if you take a full shot from 100 in, that should translate to just about every shot that you have at every club that you have going up to the drop. Now, one of the biggest things that I wanted to talk about most of all was I finished in the top 10 this weekend. It was a great weekend. I'm sitting at about fourth in the point standings at amateur uh, golf week amateur golfweekamateur.net or whatever that website was that they gave you last week. It was pretty good. If you have an opportunity to compete, I strongly encourage it because a lot of people take for granted that, and it doesn't matter if you think that you're good enough to compete or you shooting the hundreds or whatever. Getting out there and testing yourself is the main reason why I do what I do on the tour. Doesn't matter if it's at the Amateur Golf Tour, the Birmingham Black Golf Association, or even at my home course, which is Terrapin Hills, on Wednesdays. If you don't get out there and have a good time and push yourself to compete, then you never really know if you're progressing as a golfer. This weekend kind of put me in a situation where I'm thinking about possibly working towards the national championship in October. And if that's the case, then I'll be glad to go and try and compete. Last time I did that, it was about 2, 3 years ago, and I finished 12th nationally. So it is possible to have a good time and enjoy yourself in that situation. Now, if you got any questions at all about golf, or if you want me to get directly into the bourbon, let's do this. This is 1792 small batch Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Let me see here. You know, when you hit 50, you have to have something to see what's actually going on. So it says named in honor of the year Kentucky joined the United States, 1972 small batch bourbon is made from a marriage of a few select barrels carefully chosen by our master distiller. This refined bourbon elevates Kentucky distilling to exceptional new heights. Celebrated by whiskey connoisseurs worldwide, the subtleties of 1792 make it incomparably brash and bold, yet smooth and balanced. Now, one of the things that I noticed about this when I looked it up is that it's supposed to have a little bit of a sweetness to it. Um, and the only reason why I picked it up is because one where I go to get this particular deal, which is TJ's package store in Lylerly, Georgia, uh, they were saying that it is a smooth and good with bourbon. Um, and you know, I was working on, if you can notice, I've been working on this Evan Williams bottle and bond, and I'm just about done with it. It's taken a while for me to get there, but at the end of the day, I was looking for something. I'm starting to notice that I'm starting to like smooth and sweet whiskeys or bourbons in that situation. So I decided I would pick this up. It's different. It's not something that I normally would get into. So we picked this up this evening, drove there, took about 30 minutes. Um, so I'm interested to see how this particular bottle tastes. Now, I can tell you that in August, I got a few surprises. My son and my daughter, daughter-in-law, daughter, whatever you want to call that situation, we will be in Daytona, I believe, and she said that she wanted to join us. So if if you have an opportunity on August the 10th, 11th, or 12th, I don't know exactly which date it is. I put it out there for everyone. Um, we're gonna have some fun as a family, tasting and putting these together and giving you our opinions of how this goes. So the night's purchase was Buffalo Trace, which is right here, and this 1792. So let's pop this 1792. Ooh, that was nice. Okay, okay. We ain't gonna do too deep of a pour tonight, but we're gonna get a nice little pour. Let's see what it smells like. It's got a little strength to it. Like I said, it's a, let's see what strength this is. It's 93 proof, so it's not as strong as some of the ones we've had lately. Bottle and Bond, remember what we learned about that? Bottle and Bond is a 4-year aged bourbon under government restrictions, and it allows for you to get a good baseline of each bourbon that's done in bottle and bond. So I'm beginning to really like bottle and bond, but it's at 100 proof. That's one of the requirements of bottle and bond is that it's 100 proof. So we've been used to drinking 100 proof bourbons. That's the Evan Williams bottle and bond and some of the others. Let me tell you, high proof whiskeys have a different feel and taste in the mouth. So you want to make sure if you go like Buffalo Trace is not that high of a proof, but it's sweet and it's also a nice sipping whiskey. So you need to kind of over the period of time that we're together understand what it is that you're starting to like. I'm starting to like a little bit of sweetness, but not necessarily overly sweet. Um, and those are the types of things that we can get into together as we move forward. So let's take a look, not as hard on the nose, but it's not as high proof. Definitely more sweeter when you first taste it. Doesn't have the bite that you're used to having with the higher proof bourbons. This is not a bad sipping whiskey. It definitely has this opportunity for being in a situation where you can see it's got a little bit of a caramel taste. When you first taste it, it has a little bit of a caramel taste. And it's not something that gets you and catch you off guard, but it is a little bit smoother than some of the ones that are higher proof. So definitely would suggest this as a alternative going forward. This is a little surprising. I didn't expect for this to have the taste and also the feel to it that it has. You could drink this, not a bad mixing whiskey or bourbon. You could tell it's a little young and not as high proof when you're drinking it. So you can sip on this most of the night and it kind of catches up with you, but it won't hurt you in that situation. So anyone that's watching have any questions at this point? Uh, Again, this weekend was great. Uh, Ended up 10th overall in my flight, which is C flight. Shot an 86. Um, but like I said, it was a good weekend overall, and I hope to see if we can. I don't know what my next venture is. Let's see. I think this weekend coming up might be something local, but nothing structured as far as not an organized event. Um, I have to see if you got something that you want us to come check out. Give us a ring or send us a message via Facebook or YouTube, and we'll come out, take a look at it, and see what we can do. But this 1792 small batch, I would definitely recommend if you're just getting into bourbons and you want to get something that's a sipper in that situation. It's a good bourbon to start on. I know we had tried the Elijah Craig, which was a private situation, but if you haven't had something that is high proof, I wouldn't suggest it until you've had your baby steps in place. So definitely, if you're interested in getting something that to start off with and just kind of enjoy up front for a good sipping whiskey or bourbon, try the 1792. I think we'll be doing that for a little while. Buffalo Trace is a good one. So far, Buffalo Trace and 1792 seem to be good. Evan Williams Bottle and Bond is not bad. Uh, but it's a higher proof in that situation. And I'm still a majorly big fan of Jack Daniels Bottle and Bond or anything that they have that's of a higher proof. Um, Feel free to send me any comments or texts or anything of that nature. If you have a question about golf or bourbon, send me something right quick and let's see if we can talk about it. I think I had one person that was on my text message sent me something. Let's see what they say. Uh, 1792. Want to know where the Angels Envy was? Oh, somebody asked me who ends their career with the most majors out of this group. I think that was Simmons, Lions. Well, he said Brooks Koepka, Rory, Spieth, JT, Justin Thomas, Rom, Morikawa, DJ, or Scheffler? Well, that's an interesting question because I'm a big Live fan. I don't know if many of y'all know what Live Golf is, but Live Golf is the pretty much rival or golf tour for the PGA at this point, and they seem to talk to. I mean, they seem to resonate with me because it's like regular golf. To me, PGA was kind of stuffy. You know, here we tally ho, pip pip, all that kind of stuff. Live was more how we play golf. You go out, you might have some music. They get to play in shorts and all kinds of other cool stuff. I like Rom. I think Rom will have a few more majors. Brooks Koepka is a major beast. I like him. Um, I'm not a big fan of Rory. As far as I don't know if Rory, he makes good runs, but that doesn't necessarily equate to wins. Uh, I'm not sure that Rory can close. Rom has shown that he can close. Dustin Johnson has shown that he can close. Brooks Koepka has shown that he can close. And what I mean by close, those individuals have shown that, down the stretch, they can pull something from inside and keep it together. And if they have to make a shot, they can make that shot. Very seldom. I know people always talk about Tiger. Tiger was a beast when it came to expectations. People don't realize that when Tiger was at his prime, you really weren't watching the rest of the field. You were watching Tiger against everybody else, expecting everybody else to fall back, and Tiger would catch them. You don't seem to have that these days when you are watching the leaderboard because a lot of people, um, like I think the first day of the Open, there was an amateur at the top of the leaderboard, and he was doing pretty good. But there was not an expectation that he was going to be able to keep that going because you expected him to lose that. Uh, he just wasn't able to hold on to what it took to stay at the top of the leaderboard. I am impressed with Harmon. Harmon went from the Friday when he took the lead all the way to Sunday, and it takes a person with an inner confidence and an inner beast to be able to keep that lead, knowing that everybody's after you. You know that you can't make mistakes. But a lot of people during that period of time will try to dial it back and play safe instead of just stepping on the gas and playing their best game. And I think that's the difference between like your Tigers, your Brooks Koepkas, and other individuals is that they don't play to win. I mean, they don't play not to lose. They play to win and to crush you. And the person that I think that'll be the most interesting coming up is two people. Well, one person specifically, and that's Charlie Woods. Keep an eye on him because his dad was good. His dad had the skills, but Charlie has an inner beast within him that his dad suppressed to some degree. I think Charlie is free to let that inner beast out, and you keep an eye on him going forward. I believe that you'll be impressed with how that situation works out. Um, I don't see any other questions or comments at this point in time, but if you have any, please feel free to give me a call. I mean, to put them in the chat. I do appreciate individuals that joined us tonight. I've enjoyed giving you an update of kind of where we are and what we do. Uh, Kamari Bourbon and Golf is about talking about not only good whiskey, but also about good golf. So if you ever have any questions, comments, or just want to get involved with what we're doing, don't forget to like and share. And I appreciate you. Y'all have a great night.